Alright, we got a clan battle game here for you today. This is a game we played last night on on fucking Tears of the Desert versus 3X. And this game's being called by Gadoza because he needs content, so I have to make it for him. So here we are.
Okay.
Anyway, Doza, I believe you were calling this game. Go right
I
ahead.
was, yeah.
Yep.
So our initial deployment was to have the Kremlin around, like, in between A and B. We're sending the Marseille and Condé up to the B2 rock, or just straight up the one line, basically.
Yep.
Petro goes into B. Napoli is Y dot B. I believe we have the Marceau heading to A. Yes, we do. And this is a 1DD comp. So the goal is to just
You say that while we have a Gdansk and a Marceau.
Oh, that'll do it. This is a 2DD comp. See, I know my strats. There's so many ships there, I couldn't remember. Uh, yeah, so we're
Especially with
sending the
that one
Gdansk
blob there.
to, I guess, B? Honestly, I can't really see it.
You straight up did not give a call for the Gdansk this game.
Ha! That'll do it.
So I was like, well, alright, fuck it, I'll go to B.
Yeah, that'll do it. Oh, that's why I can't see the Gdansk. It's because it's you. Real. You're the little white dot. I was looking for green. See, I'm
Yeah.
smart. I'm a good commander. Trust.
Yeah,
So
says the person who ate torpedoes versus GLHF that you never should have eaten, but I
there you go.
digress.
So right now the goal is to just gain map control and to stop their north push, well, their east-west push technically, because oftentimes when you do see enemy Marseille Conde, they're gonna be going up to the B2 rock. It's just a really strong position. Once you can hold that rock, it's really hard to dislodge, and it's really easy to get crossfires on like a Mosfa on the E4 rock, for example. Right now, we're just calling RPFs. We spot the Kleber. I
Yeah.
ping it to bring it to everyone's attention. And what's curious is they're actually sending a Petro up there. So I'm like, oh well, are they sending a Marseille and Conde? And they are. So they're just sending more ships than we were.
Yeah.
Yoshi makes a good call at this moment, saying that like they're gonna have more there. We're gonna lose there if I keep pushing that. So Yoshi just kind of chills by the F1 rock, slows down his push. Jeebus is pretty deep already in the Marseille,
Yeah.
so he's a little
He's
SOL in a way.
so
He's
he's
not in like
basically his options are full send, never surrender, or just nose in and die.
nose in, not necessarily die, but nose in and just like face tank for a little while. We're getting
Yeah.
decent fire on the Conde. At least in a little bit we will be. Excuse me, and the Kremlin positions and Moskva positions are basically mirrored. Um, so we're going off of a pretty decent amount of information. There's still San Martin that's unspotted, but it's pretty
Yeah,
obvious to
but
us that it's at sea.
yeah, because something just capped there, and it literally, like, all the rest of their ships have been accounted for.
Yeah, literally every one of their ship is accounted for. So up at A, we're just focusing on the Conde kill. He's not particularly low, but he's the most potent ship there. We're also rocking our Marseille here.
Yep.
Ideally, our Marceau would have been able to spot a little bit more advanced, but that would have been deep in Moskva radar. So I think overall he made the right choice. The goal
Yeah.
for the Marceau being to just get spots.
And right now, we're talking about, in our comms, we're talking about, like, Petro and Gdansk can just straight up push their home cap more or less for free, because all that's there is a, San Martin.
Mm-hmm.
So right
Exactly.
now, I'm being actually a little bit aggressive here, and it's about to, well, yeah, I'm about to face spot a San Martin, which is suboptimal,
Love
but
it.
right, I do have this handy dandy island right here. I thought about slowing down to try and juke a salvo or two, but I was like, no, fuck it. I'm just going to full speed for this rock and just get safe. And it took a little bit of damage for it, but I think I'm fine with it.
He played that about as well as you could, because if you turned fully out, he would have gotten enough angle to full pan you.
Yeah,
And if you slowed down, he would have gotten a third salvo likely. So, yeah,
yeah,
overall, that was a good move. Right now, we just have our Conde and Kite. Kremlin and Moskva still mirroring. Their Conde is up at A2 border scumming, and so that's still going to be our kill. I don't know if you have the ability to look at that or like press tab
Uh,
or anything, but
tab bring. I honestly
oh,
don't
okay, it
use
doesn't show.
replays enough for like I
Oh,
know
that's
there's like
fine.
a free camera mode or something on there, but I
Yeah,
don't know what the button for it is because I'm
no, that's fine.
stupid.
So we're still going for the Conde kill. At this
There we
point,
go.
it's a super
Yep,
even
there you
game.
go.
Oh, and yeah, we can see the Conde is at like a fourth of his HP. At this point, we were talking about ramming the Kremlin because there's no torpedo threat, but I actually hit a rock and get sit. As you can see, I'm pretty
Yeah,
low
I
right now.
saw that right there.
I took like 30k in damage.
And this is about to be suboptimal, as they say.
Imagine that's where all your health went. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes
Honestly,
sense.
like, it kind of sucks, but it's really not that big of a deal, at least not initially, because all that's here is a San Martin, and I have
Hmm.
radio location. I can just play Ring Around the Rosie with him forever.
Oh yeah.
So, and I have 5 charges of short burst radar, and I have a Petro walking up behind me.
Hmm.
So, I'm not too worried about it, at least not yet. We do pick up the Conde kill though as well.
Yes, that is really big for us up north. That means that they need to make a play. Their Kleber obviously is an A. So, noticing that, we actually send our Marceau to rush their Petro to trade it out 1 for 1.
Yep.
Given that they only have one destroyer, it kind of is and they're down a ship, it's overall a good trade for us.
Yeah.
We still have dreams of ramming the Kremlin, but at this point, it's not dire, but it's like I just can't at all because there's a Kleber in my mouth and I'm too low.
Yeah, and the
Uh,
Marceau does get the trade on the Petro.
yes, which is very helpful. That means we can hold that B2 rock longer, and potentially push our Marseille out past it once we kill their Marseille, if we can kill their Marseille.
Yeah.
Um, right
I
now we're
think
just
our
playing footsies with the Kleber and Kremlin. We're like peeking over and over again, trying to see like who's gonna shoot, who's gonna go. Like we had no idea if their Kleber was gonna commit. He was just there to protect the Kremlin, like because he could theoretically rush both of our ships,
yeah.
and that would be catastrophic. So
Yeah. I think right now I don't remember who the Petro is. It is Antonio. I
yeah, it's
think right
Antonio.
now he's just trying to get shots on the Kleber,
Mm-hmm.
which
Exactly.
I understand that, but to me personally, I think we might have been better off just committing the Petro also to sea. But hindsight is 2020, and we'll see that come into
Hindsight is
play later.
2010, by the way.
Yeah. I started saying 20 and then I was like, wait a minute, what is it again? Like I just like brain farted, but anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so right now our Marseille is extremely low. He's basically dead. He has very little ability to get out of that situation. He's trying to use the island to cover his escape from the Moskva and the Marseille. Fortunately, the
Yep.
Marseille doesn't have backwards facing turrets. Of course, they're all in the front, so he's safe from the Marseille. As long as he doesn't get lit by like a lucky secondary fire. But right now he's
Yeah.
pushing behind him to try to get that kill.
Yep. End up getting radared by the San Martin.
Yes. And I do actually smash the Marseille's skull in a little bit. I think I got like 26k, 27k off of him from the nose because Overmatch is fair and balanced.
Yeah. In retrospect, like I launched those torpedoes at the Kleber, thinking maybe he might try and just sit on that island. They were entirely speculative torps, but in
Mm-hmm.
retrospect, I think the better option would have been to just full send and just try and YOLO this San Martin and trade, and then
Oh
just let
yeah.
our Petro walk in, which is really unfortunate because the Kleber, there's really nothing I can do about it. Being lit on hydro, Kleber guns does Kleber guns thing. So
Right.
it's pretty unlucky right there, but we did stall out their home cap from ticking for like what was that, like a good solid 5 minutes, at least a few minutes
Yeah,
there.
5 or 6, honestly.
Yeah, I wasn't counting, but we stalled out their points for like a good long while just from me
Yeah.
sitting there,
So
even though
we
we
do have a
didn't
point
take it.
advantage now.
We also have 3 kills on them versus 2, so there's
That
that
is
as well.
true. They do have 2 caps to ours, though, and they are
Yeah,
in highly defensive positions, so that's going to be really challenging to sort through. Are you
yeah.
manually controlling the camera right now? Or is
Yes.
this the replay?
This
Okay, if you could go
manual.
up to the Kremlin Moskva. Um,
I don't think I'm able to control like
oh, I
exactly
see.
where it is. I can only control where it's looking, but
So you could see right there the Kleber
yeah,
was actually pretty low. That's because I did about 8K to
yeah.
him when he peaked. Very unfortunate though, because a 2K Kleber is just as dangerous as a full health Kleber. It still
Especially when it
has,
has ledge mod.
especially ledge mod, especially in a defensive position,
Yeah,
where we can't easily spot it. So we
yeah,
will call for a radar at some point because I am initiating the rush soon. You can see I backed up pretty far to be able to clear that island. Their Kremlin is pushing up as well, and our
yeah,
Marseille magically is alive.
yeah.
This is
And,
pretty unfortunate here.
yeah,
We
that's
lose our
pretty
Petro
tragic.
for free. He thought he could get the drive by, but San Martin
Uh,
had other thoughts,
yeah.
which complicates matters.
In retrospect, when you shot at the Kleber, we were talking about this earlier
Oh
as
yeah, yeah.
well. I honestly think it would have been better if you had shot the San Martin there and
Oh,
just straight up
100%.
deleted him.
100%.
Because if
Yeah.
we deleted that San Martin, we obviously would still have our Petro. I mean, sure, the Kleber would still have some more health, but like you just talked about earlier, because we didn't manage to get the kill on him, 2K health Kleber is just as dangerous as a full health one.
Right.
So unless you were able to guarantee the kill there,
Mhm.
I believe the San Martin would have been the better shot. But you know,
Yes, I would agree. Yeah, it was one of those like I have about 3 seconds to decide because San Martin was pushing through that gap, and I was like, oh my god,
yeah,
there's a Colbert in my mouth, there's a San Martin, I could dev strike. Like, I don't know. So I did end up shooting the Colbert, probably a less efficient move, but it's definitely still like 8K on a Colbert. But
yeah,
at the same time, it's like, yeah, the San Martin kill would have been much better overall.
yeah.
So here
Because
we're
then we
going
could
for
just
the
take our Petro and walk it at sea.
yes. Also, though, our Petro could have rammed the San Martin instead of
Yeah, I
waiting.
believe. I honestly like. I believe that was the call, but Antonio was like, "Hold on, I think I can drive by him," and I was like, "You're gonna get torped," and then he got torped. So
Yep.
you know how that business goes.
So right now looks super desperate. We are triple capped. It's a tie game in terms of ships. We're stepping on B. We have much more HP than them,
Yeah, we have a
but
full health Conde. I believe a mostly full health
yeah,
Musfa,
full
and
health
then
Moskva.
there's a Marseille that's been chilling on the rock in there.
Yes. So it's going to be super tight to see if we can actually get into Cern. Because our Moskva will easily get into A. We can crossfire their Moskva. Our Moskva is basically immune to Kleber Torps given his HP, his radar is Hydro. And
Yep.
the only person here in kind of danger is Jeebus in the Marseille, given his HP.
But even Jeebus, like it's a ledge Kleber, so it's not really known for picking gunfights.
Exactly. Theoretically, they could rush him with the Kleber when his Hydro is down, but I feel
Yeah,
like if our Moskva
or
was spotted for that long, it would probably be a radar moment.
yeah. I mean, honestly, like you don't even need to rush the Marseille. Just have the Kleber sit like 7 kilometers away, and then just torp him over and over again. Because
True.
the Marseille doesn't have any way to spot the Kleber on its own,
Very
unless the
true.
Kleber like shoots at him.
So at this point, there was some mixed comms. We were saying ram the Moskva, don't ram the Moskva. It would buy us more time, but it would be a 2v2, and we'd still be on a 1 cap right now. So we realized
Yep.
we need the kill. We can't lose discount right now in the Moskva. We need to just pincer this Moskva and get him out so we can get more points, and we can, more importantly, tick down their points.
Yep. And here comes some pretty spicy shells from G. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, we
And
whittle him down a little bit. Epic
yeah, and
Moskva shooting rock gaming, by the
yeah.
way.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think he has a shot on literally anybody,
No, no, he
because
doesn't.
the Moskva's like behind, like around the edge of the island there.
Yeah.
I mean, also, but if Discount can shoot him, he should have been able to shoot Discount as well. But he's
Hmm.
just gonna greed for the Marseille kill, which, to be fair to him, I believe is the right play because the Marseille is much lower and much more
Yes.
prone to dying than an angled Masva.
Somehow Jeebus doesn't die from that. That buys us a lot more time. I still believe they're on a one cap, but right now, yeah, we're calling for
No,
Jeebus to just
no,
run away.
we're not on a. I don't think we're on
Really?
a one cap right
Oh,
now
we're on
because right now,
WinCon.
yeah, because right now this entire comm was like Jeebus talking about how he just went dark, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone is just like, okay, all we have to do is hold A and B. You can see
Mm-hmm.
Yoshi is not walking at the San Martin anymore.
Yeah.
Because
Total bait.
Yoshi's just like, yeah, we just need to stay alive and we're good.
As long as we ride the RPF and make sure Kleber's not heading to B, which we know he's not given RPF,
Yep.
we're kind of in the clear. It's just going to be extremely tight on points. It did
Yeah.
show us like 5 seconds ahead or something.
Yeah.
Something
But
crazy.
like 5 seconds ahead is still being ahead.
This is true. This is true.
So,
So,
I honestly really wish I grabbed Jeebus's replay for this because that would have been kind of spicy,
yeah.
seeing his perspective on this, but whatever. Is what it is. Now
I
we're just
think,
sitting here waiting on the points. And there goes the Mosfa radar.
yep,
So,
just
in
zoning out the
That
Kleber.
Kleber is just like, he's fucking
He's
gone.
just gone. I
It's
think they
like,
were banking on the fact that they might win with points, but if they did have the mod, which I assume they did,
yeah,
they would know that they couldn't do that. But
yeah,
yeah, as we can see, 998 to 994, just ridiculous margins here. 1,000 to
yeah.
994, like that's
But
literally 2 ticks.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we won and they didn't. So it's close, but we still able to get it through. And I think a large part of that was partly due to just stalling out their home cap for like 5 minutes. If
Yes,
we didn't
that
stall their
definitely
home
helped.
cap, like we'd have probably lost like probably 2 minutes before we had won.
We would have
Uh,
lost on points much sooner. Yeah,
yeah, and then Jeebus, the fucking mad lad in the Marseille surviving was
yeah,
huge.
that was crazy. Because if he didn't survive, we wouldn't have gotten that Moskva kill. We would have had to ram or something, and
Yeah,
then Kleber would just cap B, or
yeah.
cap the contest cap. So
Yeah, and I think I don't want to. I don't know if it would if we can really call it a misplay on their Kleber, but I think if their Kleber just sent it and just YOLO torped either you or the Musfa or both, we also would have
Mhm.
been looking at a different screen right now.
That is true, but part of what our comms were talking about in the contest cap, Discount and I, we were splitting our gun power. So one would face north, one would face east, approximately. So like
Yeah.
one would face one side of the island, the other would face the other. So the Kleber rush would be much harder to pull off, at least without taking significant damage. It
Well,
wasn't a feast or famine moment. It
I
was
mean,
we're gonna split our firepower just in case.
at the point of when you're sending a Kleber to rush something, you're really not caring about if the Kleber gets away or not. You're caring more about guaranteeing that your team gets an important kill, either on
Right.
the Moskva or the Kremlin or on both, or get damage on both and let your cruisers finish off one or both. By the time you're doing that, like, the Kleber was healthy enough that even if you had both guns on him, he had enough health that he probably would have survived long enough to get at least one of you. And I think that
Right.
would have been pretty significant as well.
That
Like
could have been a
if
really
we didn't
bad.
have a Masva there at the end there, that wouldn't have we wouldn't have been able to kill the other Masva because Jeebus was on like 3,000 health. So
Agreed. Agreed.
like we were talking about though, like I don't think we can really solely pin this on the Kleber because he did do as well as he could have given what he had to work with. I think.
Hmm.
Other than that, oh shit, that's my alarm for my guild battle in a different game, but I'm just gonna ignore it anyway. Uh, yeah, ramming out their Kremlin as well. If that Kleber rushed the Moskva or the Kremlin, we wouldn't have been able to do that as well. Because
Oh
if a
yeah,
Moskva tries to ram that Kremlin, as soon as it rounds the corner, it's just gonna get deleted.
exactly. Yeah, I think I did I could probably do the math, but I did at least 180 or yeah, 180 times more damage than you did. Really. Just
Something
wanted to
like
lay that
something.
out there.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like, to be fair, I'm the reason we didn't lose like 3 minutes prior.
This is
But
true.
But then
This
again,
is
you
true.
also traded a full health or a hat or what were you on, like quarter
I
or
was
one
on
third,
like
something like that.
20k and I
So like
traded an
basically a one,
80k
yeah,
gremlin.
yeah. So basically that was a pretty good trade right there. So
A little
honestly,
bit.
both like I think
No, both useful.
everyone played pretty well here on both teams really. I think if they played a little bit differently, they probably would have pulled out on this. I
Hmm.
really am not trying to sound like I'm pointing fingers, but I think that Kleber rush, if they had just went for it, they
Right.
that probably would have won them the game.
Yeah. I would say that everyone played really well, like you said. And this just goes to show the difference between randoms and competitive, where you can have a Gdansk that does literally less than 1,000 damage, win the game. Like,
Yeah,
win you the game. Do something so important that you win on 1,000 points to 994.
yeah,
It's
and then
just really interesting to me.
yeah, because like in competitive, like the role of destroyers is a lot different. Whereas
So
in
much different.
randoms, you're just like everyone is basically out for themselves. But in competitive, every ship has a very specific role that it has to fulfill, and
Yes.
that role is not always damage. It could literally be sit on a rock until you fucking die, but just
Literally.
stall that cap for 5 minutes,
Literally.
and that comes back, and that makes a difference. Even though it doesn't feel like it doesn't look like it really does make that difference in the long run. Because like we said earlier, if we didn't stall out their home cap for like 5 or more minutes, we would have lost on points much sooner than we did.
Yes. It really kind of feels like a chess match in a way. Not to say that ships is as hard as chess, but like it's unintuitive sometimes. It's like, oh, I got to get a big number, or oh, I got to kill the enemy. And it's like, well, not necessarily, because there's this whole point system. And it's
Yeah,
very, like I said, unintuitive to the average player, even to more seasoned players. Like, I sometimes make the wrong call given a point situation. Or we had a game previously where we got ticked out on points because we weren't fast enough at our push. And it's like, wait, but we were winning. It's like, yeah, but the points. So,
yeah. Like we had like
really big
I
impact.
think we had like a two-ship lead on them, but we still ended up getting pointed out because we just let them back cap us more or less for free, and then they just had us
Yes.
on triple cap, and we were like, well, now what? And then we
Yeah,
just lost.
exactly.
So, uh, you. This is a lesson that I always want to highlight: is you never have to do anything particularly fancy, particularly flashy, or like really super big impressive. You don't need to be doing like 5 kills per game, 200,000 damage, and like 2.5k base every single game in order to be impactful. As long as what you're doing is not like fucking jerking off in Narnia or something, you can literally do absolutely nothing and still have a significant impact on the game,
Hmm.
especially in competitive.
Yes, it is much different to randoms, even ranked. It's like ranked is kind of an in between zone where it's like, okay, points are amplified, there's less players, but it still ends up being like, okay, it's a damage game, and if you can stop them from stepping on a cap. But competitive, there's so much rotation, there's so much strategy that goes into it. You can have an identical strategy to another team, and you just lose because of player skill difference. You get out traded, you get out smashed, you get out spotted, outgunned. You could have two different strats with totally different, like you could have a storm clan facing a hurricane clan, and the storm clan can just win because the strat is better. This is a rare
Yeah.
kind of extreme
Yeah,
example,
or
but
like they could just have like the one perfect ship comp that perfectly counters what the Hurricane Clan is running. Like
exactly.
imagine a Kleber comp facing 3 Venezias and a Napoli, for instance.
Yeah, basically that.
Yep.
So there's a lot of strategy that goes into it behind the scenes, making the strats, getting familiar with the strats, getting familiar with mid game, end game, early game. positioning, lines you can take. Like there's so much that
Yeah,
goes into it.
and also a large part of it is just being able to like change what your strat is on the fly. Like you don't want to
Yes.
stick to it too rigidly, because if you're thinking like, oh, I the strat calls for me to sit on this island, so that's what I'm going to do, instead of poking out, trading a little bit of health, but securing a kill on a
Hmm.
Conde or a Petro or Marceau, like could have been like, oh, my job is just to spot, so I'm just going to go sail around, quote unquote, spotting, instead of
Hmm.
just removing a Petro from the game.
Yeah, not realizing the advantages they actually have and actually playing dynamically. And a big thing too is asking questions. Like if you're not sure, like unless you're absolutely positive, yeah, just like Zeko was doing, I'm gonna sit on this rock in the cap and block the cap for as long as humanly possible. But
Yeah,
if you're like a cruiser, you're like, I'm doing nothing. Speaking up is a huge part of competitive, and like because a caller doesn't have seven eyes. We can't tell exactly what you're looking at. We're not omnipotent. So if the more information a caller gets, then the better information they can give back and the better suggestions they can give.
yeah, and like you've seen this as well. Like during a lot of my clan battle videos, especially, you would hear me saying like, "Okay, what do you want to do with the Gdansk?" Uh,
Exactly.
like Gdansk has this much health. There's this going on. What do you want to do? And
It's
like
a game of
play.
information.
Yeah, but like also at the same time, you don't want to like be swamping your caller either. Like you don't like the caller can't like be bombarded by seven people asking what to do at once. Like you do need to
Correct.
have like some player autonomy in there. Like during this particular game, I didn't ask of like hey, what do you want Gdansk to do? I was just like, okay, Gdansk is gonna do this. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
go in there. I'm just gonna sit there.
Exactly. Autonomy, comms, information, player skill, strategy. It's
Like
like it's not
all of
just a
that comes
balance
together.
of like one and one. It's like a seven-way balance where you
And
have to
that
balance like seven different scales in one.
Yeah, and that balance is constantly changing because the games are
Yes.
always going to be changing and are always going to be different.
Mm-hmm. It's a very dynamic game overall. As compared to randoms where it's like just farm HE at the back of the map, like competitive, there's a lot of that's why the competitive scene, although it's small, it is very well competitive and
Yeah,
people actually tend to enjoy it a lot more than randoms. Like personally, I barely play randoms anymore. I'm here for competitive. I'm here to
yeah,
play CBs. And we have development days, we play Bravo, we play Alpha. I'm not just here to push, but competitive really has this allure to certain players that you can't really get anywhere else in World of
yeah,
Warships. It's a very
yeah.
special mode.
And it's like we said, it's a very like it. There's a lot more that goes on to it that meets
Hmm.
the eye.
It's
It's like
it's
we're
stimulating in a way. It's like it's very it's difficult to get good at,
yeah,
but it's highly rewarding. And the
yeah, because
competitive scene is so small that you kind of get used to certain people. It's like, oh, this team plays like this, or this team tends to do this, and you can kind of use that as a strategy as well. Because ideally, it would be kind of you don't know what they're gonna do, but
yeah.
the element of surprise is kind of lost due to the size of competitive as of late. Like we know that this team always does a smoke play, or this team tends to play more aggressively. Like, yeah.
Yeah, like
So.
there's like all of these things are things that you'll pick up on over time. But I think another like one of the single biggest lessons that we anyone can take away from this game is that no matter how bad things look, just don't give up.
Hmm.
Don't be like, oh well, this game's a loss. Go next. Like sometimes you do have games that are like that, where
Yeah.
you just get absolutely smashed, whether it's a skill issue, strat issue, or you just straight up, they are straight up better than you.
Yeah.
Sometimes those games will happen, but games like this, where you know you have a stretch of winning the game, don't ever give up. Just keep on playing to win that game and
Hmm.
you might just win, as we saw here.
At the very least, it's very good practice to continue for the win. Like that's a bad habit of mine as a caller. Is like I'll die, someone else will die, and it's like, oh, that's probably GG. And then I start
Yeah.
thinking about other things, thinking about tweaking the strat when there's a full game laid out in front of me. So that's one thing I'm working on. But
Yeah.
especially given the stakes, we were in the Typhoon struggle, which, like, sure, it's Typhoon, not the biggest deal, but it's like top 15 NA. That's big
Yeah.
deal to us at least. So being in the struggle, that was like that's not acceptable to just be like GG go next. It's like we need
Yeah.
these badly.
Yeah, like we can't, like we have to win these games.
Yes, it is not an option to go next.
Yeah. So I think that's about it for this replay. You got anything else you want to add in?
No, I'm pretty satisfied with this.
All right, I'll send you this video so you can upload it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. You know, you haven't made content in a while.
I'm
I have to
getting
be
to
here and
it.
make the content for you.
Hey, my university has a spring break coming up. I got this shit. Trust, trust,
Yeah, I'll see you in
trust.
I'll see you in June.
Oh yeah. I'll see you when I graduate. End of
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for doing this replay with me.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll see you all fine people on YouTube tomorrow, or yeah, tomorrow, and Gadoza. They'll probably see more of you on Wednesday.
Indeed.
Yeah. Any other closing words or goodbyes?
660 damage.
Uh,
That's
f-
all.
fuck you.
Eating San Martin torps. That is my closing statement.
You ate Torps on like the next two games. Fuck off. Anyway, we'll see ya.